Honourable member for Cypress Hills Grasslands.
Well, thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I rise today to have a chance to address once again the government's emissions cap, which is better known as their production cap, because we know that by implementing the emissions cap, we're going to see about 1 million barrels of oil reduction in production in Canada by 2030. There's been various reports that have been done on this and show that that is going to happen. One of the strategic advantages that Canada has enjoyed for the last number of decades has been our reliable, affordable, and efficient energy production. And that's been done largely through the oil and gas sector that we have here in Canada. But let's also talk about some of the benefits that our communities receive from the oil and gas sector, Madam Speaker. When we look at communities around southwest Saskatchewan, for example, the town of Shaunavon, they have the Crescent Point Wickenheiser Centre, which is the community skating rink, the curling rink, meeting rooms, and event spaces. In Kindersley, Inter Pipeline actually just entered into a 10-year partnership to be the naming rights sponsor for the Event Centre Arena, which supports the minor hockey program there, as well as the Kindersley Clippers in the SJHL. Just last month in my hometown of Swift Current, Whitecap Resources made a $100,000 commitment towards the Southwest Facility Foundation, which is going to be a new multi-purpose facility that we're looking to build in Swift Current. And beyond that, when we look at the Dr. Noble Irwin Health Foundation, when you look at the various donors who are on the list, the various businesses who are donating to the success of healthcare all across Southwest Saskatchewan, but particularly in Swift Current, you see people who are entrepreneurs in the oil and gas sector. You see the small businesses that are operating in the service industry, that they're the ones who are donating to these causes. When we look at our minor sports teams, when you look at the boards of people who have donated, who are either platinum, gold, or silver sponsors of minor sports, whether it's hockey or baseball, again, it's energy companies who are the ones who are leading the charge on making donations to minor sports, to minor hockey, senior centers, schools, education that happens. It's these companies who are the ones who are putting their dollars into these facilities and into various courses and classes that are available. So these are the companies that need to be supported, but these are the companies that the Liberal government is deliberately attacking and is trying to wipe out with their draconian policies like the emissions cap, which, as I said, is a production cap. But let's look further at what's going to happen here. In these reports that I referenced earlier, 150,000 jobs are expected to be lost because of the emissions cap. And when you look at the average salary in the oil and gas sector, it's over $151,000, which is 2.4 times greater than the average salary across the Canadian economy. Now, in 2030, when this emissions cap is fully implemented, we're going to see a drop in $34.5 billion in economic potential in Canada. When you game that out, Madam Speaker, that averages out to a drop in $420 per month for the average family across the country in disposable income. That's going to be the result and the track record of this government. So I don't know why they're so committed to trying to devastate the Canadian economy. They know that the natural resource sector, particularly the oil and gas sector, is the driver of the Canadian economy. It is what produces good jobs, and it is actually the industry that is the single largest investor in renewable energy in this country, and that's who they are directly assaulting, Madam Speaker.
Secretary.
Madam Speaker, I'm not even sure fully how to respond to that speech that I just heard, which was a list of the donations made by the oil and gas industry to the members' community. I mean, that's great. I just don't really know how to respond to that, except for to say that, you know, in my community, local sports are supported by many different community organizations and businesses, and I thank them very much for their support. But I don't think that that's actually what we're supposed to be debating today, and I don't think that that's necessarily the most important issue that we have to talk about, because I think the most important issue that we have to talk about, and the member opposite did touch on this as well, is what's the future for our economy and for our environment and our planet here in this country and around the world. And I think that one of the things that frustrates me sometimes is that there isn't enough focus as well on all of the opportunities. It just seems so frustrating to always be talking in the negative. There are opportunities, and the world is looking to us for those opportunities. In fact, Romania, wanting to make sure that it can stay away from Russian oil, turned to Canada. We're providing expertise in providing more nuclear support and how they can actually build out nuclear energy more. That is something that we can provide. When we look at other places where we're working with our allies, we have the know-how and the go-to, and that's something that we need to be continuing to bring forward. Just recently, I got to go to the graduation of the first all-female class of new millwrights who will be working at the Darlington refurbishment. It was a great opportunity there, good paying union jobs for these women coming out of the program. There are opportunities, and we need to be seizing them. And at the same time, we need to be fighting climate change, because that is the most existential threat for our planet. So let's do both. Let's stop focusing on the negative. Let's look at all that we can achieve, and that is, in fact, what we're doing.
Member for Cypress Hills Grasslands.
Well, I'm not sure why she says, let's not focus on the negative. She says, let's not focus on the loss of $35 billion from the Canadian economy. Let's not focus on the drop in GDP that's going to happen on this. Let's not focus on the 150,000 job losses that are going to come because of the emissions cap. That's what she doesn't want to focus on. She doesn't want people to know about these kind of things. And she's going to talk about, the environment. We got to do so much for the environment. It's oil and gas companies that have been leading the charge in investments in trying to reduce their methane emissions. They've been working on efficiencies. They've actually decreased emissions in their own sector on their own without government mandates over the years. They've been the single biggest driver in making sure that Canadian oil and energy is the most ethical, but the highest standards, but also done so in a way that's still affordable for Canadians to have affordable, reliable energy. That's the strategic advantage that Canada has, and this Liberal government wants to make it go away. It's a shame.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Madam Speaker, it's just that I'm trying to not talk down our economy, because I know that we can accomplish so much more. Look, what we should also know is that the oil and gas sector is Canada's largest source of greenhouse gas emissions, and the emissions from that part of the sector continue to grow. But you know what? I don't even understand what the confusion is about why we should have a cap on emissions from the oil and gas sector. Pathways originally had said that they were on track, that they wanted to do that very same thing. So where's the argument? We need to do this. We need to do it for our economy. We need to do it for the environment.